Hello there, welcome back to another episode of the Long Hop Cricket Podcast. My name's Dave. We seem to have the giggles before coming on air today. Well, Owen sat beside me, and you're listening to our very first ever Long Hop Cricket Podcast. Oh, everything's going wrong at the moment.
The dog's dreaming and yelping.
Yelping in her sleep.
Oh.
Anyway, back to the cricket. Today
there isn't any.
There isn't any, yeah. As professional as always. For those of you who don't know what a rainy day podcast is, it's probably a podcast that's, I like to think, time relevant.
Have we actually said this is a rainy day podcast yet?
Yeah.
Did we? Are you sure?
Yeah, you and Fix
Sorry, go on.
It's a podcast that you can save, keep, or listen, get your cricket fix between matches.
Yeah, it's the one in between when we have an England test match or whatever to cover, isn't it?
So you can think, imagine when there's not much test cricket going on, England aren't playing test cricket, you'll be expecting one of these once a week. That's about right, isn't it?
Yeah. So if we don't have a test match or one day or something to cover, we'll bring out one of these a week in between.
And our first ever episode will be about Owen's time in village cricket and a few stories he wants to tell.
Yeah.
Looking forward to hearing this. Obviously, if you guys don't know, I won't have any stories about
you haven't
cricket.
played.
I've never
You've
played.
Never played a game of cricket.
Though I've got
Not
plenty
even.
of things I want to find out about cricket with Owen and his team. First of all, can you give me a drum roll?
Drum roll?
Yeah, but do it with your mouth.
Not with go at me, not for making noise.
Definitely do it with your mouth, the drum roll. I've got an important announcement.
What about...
Welcome and thank you to our two first ever subscribers. I hope the mic picked up the drum roll.
That up. Thigh slapping. You have a go at me for making any kind of... Yeah, that would have been terrible. Anyway.
It's really rad, isn't it, getting 2 subscribers? How happy were we when we found out?
It was it's brilliant.
Thank you ever so much
amazing.
to those who have subscribed. It really makes our day if we see someone new subscribe, or even if you're just viewing, or if you're listening now, please give us a like. It really helps things, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just it's kind of you know someone's listening, or that someone actually is interested, which makes a massive difference when you're starting.
And to those 2 subscribers, thank you. If you want to leave a comment, we could probably give you a shout.
Yeah, we'll give you a big shout out.
If you want a shout out, then
you want a shout out.
We would like to say thank you, really.
You want to shout out to the other subscriber.
But no, that's rad. That's really cool. I was over the mood. Radical.
Over my mood.
Okay, let's bash onto the cricket. I wanted to ask you about cricket tours, because that's the stuff of...
Right.
Can be the stuff of legends, can't it?
Yeah. I've never been on a properly organised cricket tour, if that makes sense.
Never been on a properly organised cricket podcast either.
Yeah, that's true. But it's just I've only been on sort of village ones, but I think they usually lead to the best ones, the best stories, when there's minimum organisation, if that makes sense. We just play for a little village cricket team, and we go on tour to a tiny village in Wales. We sort of did it for sort of 3 or 4 years, and it's just not somewhere that you'd pick to go on tour, if that makes sense.
So you went back to the same place 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
You loved it so much the first time you...
Well, we just couldn't be bothered to organise somewhere else to go, because someone we knew lived there, and they knew there was a cricket team there that would be willing to play us.
So what's more important, the playing time or the drinking time?
No one cares about the playing time.
Everybody go for a piss,
because the team, one of the team, because you go down on the Friday, you play on the Saturday, and you try and play on the Sunday as well. Mm-hmm. 2 years in a row, the Sunday team didn't even turn up.
That's just more time.
We just kept going back anyway. So it doesn't really. I don't think it really makes much difference.
So your nights out, what does? Go on then. Give us. Have you got any stories?
It's interesting actually, because we weren't like going to Wales and like just outside of Cardiff. So thinking we'll go into Cardiff for a night. We were like out in the like in the middle of nowhere, and we went to a nightclub, right, which is quite hard to find in the middle of sort of rural Wales.
So is this nightclub in a town, in a village? Well, they can't have nightclubs in villages.
It's like I guess it was a town, but
Is it much bigger than the town we are sat in at the moment? Is it smaller than?
it would probably a little bit smaller.
Okay, so the town's got a high street.
There's a bakery, if that's what you mean. It's like there's a bakery and there's a church and there's a nightclub.
That's all you want, though, isn't it?
Well, that will do. And it had a fish and chip shop. It was a very good town, actually. Oh yeah, but before we get on to anything interesting, in this fish and chip shop, they sold an energy drink called cocaine, right?
Yeah.
It's actually called cocaine, and
there's an energy drink called Pussy as well. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. I've seen that.
I've seen it.
They sold it in the garage near my house.
Did they?
Yeah.
Pussy.
Yeah. Not yeah.
Yeah.
The energy drink.
Yeah. It's cocaine.
Yeah, cocaine, and it has. You know when people is it a heart attack that they give you
adrenaline?
No. What do they give you caffeine for? Anyway, a medical a medical like a medical dose of caffeine is some certain amount of milligrams. Anyway, this cocaine energy drink had double a medical dose in it.
So it effectively gave you
a really dangerous amount.
Mm. Did you have some?
So we bought one and kept it. Still got it somewhere.
It's a
bit lame, isn't it? But it was quite interesting. Anyway.
So what happened on one of these
we went to
brutal
this
nights
nightclub and it's called something like the Aubergine. Right, that's obviously not the name of it, but that's what I remember it being called. The Aubergine. And when we first went in, some bloke was unconscious on the floor. Just people stepping over him.
Have you gone in like for the last hour?
No, it was sort of when you go, it was like 10 or 11.
So it's kind of like
it's early. It's pretty early as far as a nightclub goes. And this bloke's just
out of it.
So you walk in, the bouncer let you in. Bloke's unconscious on the floor, just not moving. Everyone's just walking over him. No one's particularly bothered about that.
It's pretty.
It's pretty intimidating, and everyone's staring at you, obviously,
like,
because everybody knows everybody in this nightclub. And have you ever seen one of them out the back? Those punch machines. They have like that punch bag that comes down.
They have one in the local club to us, don't they?
Right, yes.
And so you hit it and then it calculates the score.
And like with the score. And this guy...
Which isn't very good to put in a nightclub. Don't you think it kind of...
No, it's a terrible idea. But people love it. I bet you they make a lot of money. Anyway, there was this one bloke who was absolutely loving it. And he was smashing money into this thing and then bashing this thing as hard as he could. And one person from our cricket team sort of started trying to get him like pumped to try and beat his score.
So I was feeding him a bit of ammo.
So it's like, go on, mate, go on, you can hit it harder. You'll smash this one. To the point, this guy was like taking a good couple of steps, like Happy Gilmore in it, taking happy steps, trying to smack the track. Taking Happy Gilmore's trying to punch it, and he's putting everything in, trying to beat his last score. Runs up, completely misses the punch bag, and like punches like the metal thing around it, and just splits his hand open, like it's proper gory, and busts his hand up, and it was horrible. And then sort of like, oh, sorry, mate, and then left.
So he's there with...
It was horrible, and blood everywhere and everything.
Right, so you've already made a good impression.
And then sort of just getting a bit wazzoed. And our captain, sort of, as soon as he has a drink, just falls asleep.
Is he an old boy?
Nah, he's sort of middle-aged. Brilliant. And he's fallen asleep at this bar, and we start talking up this rather trying to be polite, sort of not model standard looking lady.
Ugly. Average.
Below
average.
the first one.
Below ugly.
Well,
she maybe in your eyes, but maybe in other eyes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and in my opinion, and sort of had possibly mismatching tattoos.
Mismatching?
Well, they didn't really go together. And
again, this is very subjective, I
well,
quite beautiful.
And some of them were covered
tattoos.
up with nicotine patches and stuff.
Again, she's trying to improve her life through non-smoking.
Yeah, no,
I don't understand why you're going after her here.
I'm not. Anyway, we talked to her because we're polite, and she's a boxer.
Right, yeah.
And
sounds really hot at the moment.
Right. And we were like, oh, our friend here who's sleepy, he's a boxer. She's like, oh yeah, and we were like,
is his friend a boxer though?
No, it's our captain. Oh, right. And we're like, yeah, he's a boxer.
This captain's fallen asleep.
He's asleep, and we're like, oh, he's had like 22 fights, and he's lost all 22, but he hates Welsh women, right? Yeah. He thinks they can't box, and anyway, we're just and she's getting really annoyed, so she wakes him up, right, and starts going, "Don't mess with the best, because the best don't mess."
First of all, I just like it that you're in this club and it's quite acceptable to just fall asleep.
Oh yeah, well,
it's almost like it.
I was going. He's not in the way.
Yeah,
it's dark and dingy.
Normal clubs, if you're falling asleep, you're asked to move on, aren't you? Really?
Yeah, right. Yeah, but anyway, no one's.
So what was that? If you can't fight the best,
don't mess with the best, because the best don't mess. Which is a fair message,
right? Yeah. What about the bicep tricep one?
Oh, what? That's a great one. Don't try and get by, or you'll get dealt with and trapped.
So when Owen said that, he's pointed to his tricep. Don't
tricep and get bicep, or you'll get dealt with, deltoid in your shoulder, and trapped.
Right,
Just a little thing for you. Anyway, that's got nothing to do with this.
But that's a motto for life. Both.
Yeah.
Both of those.
Don't try and get by, or you'll get dealt with and trapped. Doesn't really make sense, but. And anyway, she's telling him all these boxing things, like always keep your left up. And
is he taking much interest?
He's
smashed his granite at the moment.
He's woken up, but doesn't really know what's going on, or he doesn't care. And someone on our cricket team goes, "Oh, let me take a photo of you two together. Like you're getting along so well. Let me take a photo of you." Mm-hmm. And it was like on one of them like old school BlackBerry phones. So like when you press the button to take a photo, it goes like adjust, and then takes the picture. So he takes a picture, right? And this woman who's on the other side of the table from him leans over the table and punches him like a straight right hand straight in the face, like a full-on punch.
Why?
Because she's a little bit crazy, and at this point, there's been like 15 minutes of winding her up about how he hates Welsh women.
Like a picture where she was supposed to put her.
No. It was just meant to be like, let's take a photo of you two. Yeah, so we're thinking she's leaning in for like, so she can get in the picture.
Do you think she's like, they've had a chat about boxing, so she's put.
What?
She's like almost posing her next to her. She's just gone for the punch.
She's just smashed him straight in the face.
Cool.
I know, that's hilarious. Did you catch it on camera? It's hilarious. And the night carries on, and as we're leaving, where we were staying was quite. We have to travel to get to this great nightclub, and there's no taxis about in the middle of rural Wales at like 3 a.m. to take you where you want to go. So we were like,
did you have to walk?
We were like, well, we'll just have to walk it, and it was a long. I don't know how far it was, but
it's probably difficult to get to. I imagine, if you don't know where you're going.
Long way. So we start walking, and people are, feeling pretty confident, bit wazzoed. We come across a cop car, So one of our guys goes, "Oh, I'll go over and ask the."
This is starting to sound like
What?
Hot
No,
Fuzz.
like Hot Fuzz.
For the greater good, they're going to move you on.
No Country for Old Men.
But it just feels like they're, you're loitering around. So for the greater good,
We're not loitering around. We're trying to get home. We weren't trying to pick a fight. We'd already had one. So one lad's like, I'll go and see if they'll give us a lift home. And this is where it starts worrying me, because I'm like, don't. Because that's how this is how the night goes from being funny and hilarious to then, one of us spent the night in a cell. But he runs over to these cops, so we just keep walking. He comes back over and he's like, they'll give us a lift. They'll give us a lift back to the place. He says, they said we just need to keep walking, and if we walk out of town, just keep going. Once we've walked out a bit, so we can't be seen, they'll come and pick us up. And we think that's absolute. They're just saying this so we walk off.
For the greater
so,
good.
so it's like 10 minutes of walking off, and then this cop car comes by, right, and says, "Yeah, we'll give you a lift." So it was 3 by 3. There was I don't know how many, but there was a lot. They did shuttle run, dropping us
nice.
Back to our place. Yeah,
slow crime day.
It's like, well, yeah, how much is going on? Like the aubergine's shut, nothing's kicking off. Give these guys a lift home.
But people might be off their head on high caffeine drinks,
right? But and that's when we were like, and the next morning we're having breakfast and like, remember that Welsh woman smacking him in the face? It's like, didn't you take a picture? He's like, I got a picture somewhere on my phone, and he still has the photo. The photo is perfectly timed of she is making contact with this guy's chin as the photo has been taken. And when this photo say he had long hair, and you can see like his hair, it's like a Head and Shoulders advert when they're like flipping their hair around. You can see the actual like chin being moved and his face like wobbling and his hair going all over the place. It was perfectly timed of this woman just punching him straight in the face. One of the funniest things I've ever seen. It was great looking at that photo. I'm happy we saved it as well. We always look back.
Sounds like an eventful night.
Mm.
There was another thing I wanted to ask you about when playing village cricket. Is I wanted to know what's been your worst tease.
Worst tease?
Yeah, the tease where you've just turned up and you're like.
To be honest, anyone who's
do you give a set amount of money?
Anyone who's played village cricket knows the tees are basically what people turn up for. That's like the majorly important thing. And we sort of have like an inter-club thing of like the tees are really important. We have to, and we're given £40. That's your budget. So the club will pay you back £40, but everyone spends more than 40 quid when they do that cricket
so
tees.
It's a gesture of 40 quid to cover almost most of it.
Yeah, and we do really good teas, like loads of different sandwiches, salads, and cakes and scones and all sorts of stuff, right? But we went to this one ground, which, to give you an idea of where we play village cricket, we play in a private school.
Which is a really picturesque setting, isn't it?
Yeah, we play in a private school because we can't afford to have our own ground, so we borrow this private school's cricket pitch. Has a clock tower on it, like a picturesque hill.
I imagine the grounds are beautiful.
The ground's perfectly flat. There's woods on one side, and you can see like through this valley either side of it with like a perfect clubhouse, and it looks unbelievable. The actual strip and pitch is just terrible, but the scene is perfect.
Right, yeah.
This one club we go to is slap bang in the middle of a massive estate. There's a cricket pitch, which is kind of a bit weird anyway, right?
Is it part of a park?
No, it's a cricket pitch. And they've obviously had problems with like hitting houses and breaking car windows, and so they thought, well, we need to do something to stop us smashing.
Prison fence off of them.
Right, so they thought we'll put a big fence up. So you think, well, what could chicken wire maybe? I mean, it's ugly, chicken wire. Maybe like netting, big poles, and put netting up. These guys have decided to go for corrugated iron.
Oh, it's worse than...
Corrugated iron.
So
And not
can you see...
uniform corrugated iron.
You can't see the houses, can you, when you're in the pitch? Oh.
It's like a inverted... It's like a bowl. The ground all slopes into the middle of the square, and then all around the edge has got like odd bod wooden sticks holding up mismatching rusty...
Well, you've been placed in a cage, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice when you hit a 4, though. Makes like a boom. And the pitch is like, I think it's like, there's like sewage.
This sounds like the worst ground I've ever heard of.
Deep underneath.
How can the tees worse than the ground?
This is a league cricket pitch as well. They play Saturday league cricket.
So they should have money coming in from the league, yes?
Yeah. And the pitch is like, sort of like a, it's not black, but it's getting... It's not brown, that's for sure. And they had like, you know, those picnic pork pies. They'd brought a couple of
tiny, almost like Coke can, or smaller than a Coke can.
Well, smaller than like a cricket ball size.
Yeah, it's almost.
Yeah, everyone knows those little like handheld tiny pork pies. They'd brought a couple of packets of them. Something
you might hand out before, as a snack, maybe before dinner.
Well, you could have it with cricket teas. It might be in cricket teas. But that was the cricket tea.
This was solely the cricket tea.
The pork pies and some coleslaw, and there was some squash or a can of lager. Yeah.
One can of lager?
Yeah, you could have a can of lager.
Each?
And those like the 330 ml little...
A Coke can of lager?
Yeah, so, yeah.
Was this each, not just one to share between the team?
No, it was each, yeah, you could have one, yeah. And they charged us £40.
The money doesn't concern me. What does concern me is...
You can't charge people that much for that.
Let's forget that.
It's rubbish.
Forget that.
Well, that's not what you forget.
Has pork pies and coleslaw ever been accepted together?
Pork
pies and mustard
also paper plates.
Yeah, so you're not going to steal them, are you?
Paper plate, no. You've got to do it properly. Yeah, it's horrible. We haven't played there for quite a while.
So nothing's been able to beat that for a cricket team.
Well, how can you do... What apart from not giving a team one? I'll tell you, the only time we did a bad one was the captain was away, the vice-captain was away, and we hadn't sorted out... It was early in the season, it was our own fault. I hadn't sorted out the rota, because usually the AGM, you sort out a rota of whose tees it is. And no one had sorted it out, so no one was doing tees. And someone was like, well, I've got a thing to get 50% off Domino's. So however much you spend, doesn't matter, you get 50%, like a voucher.
So you spend 80 quid, it comes down to 40 quid.
Yeah, so we were like...
Which in Domino's, I'm surprised it gets you more than the pork pies and coleslaw.
Yes, so we were like, okay, we'll spend like 70 quid.
Yeah.
And then charge, and we'll make it back. That'll be fine. That's perfect. The thing is this person who came up with the idea thought to order them and go and pick them up like 10 minutes before we needed them.
Right, yeah.
And this was like...
That's not a bad idea.
7 or 8 pizzas.
Did he order them?
Yeah, he phoned them up. So we need them in 10 minutes. We need them in 10 minutes.
Okay.
And he phones up ordering 8 pizzas.
Yeah.
And then he needs to go and get them. So then obviously we're stood around waiting for ages and ages and ages.
So half an hour, 40 minutes?
No, yeah, it was like an hour we just stood about. Wow, and then I was like, do you know what? Because I was in charge. Brilliant. And I was like...
you were captain, were you?
Yeah. So I was like, should we... I just went up to them. I was like, I'm really sorry. Should we just carry on playing?
And then have the tea later, maybe? Because
they were batting. So I was like, you have first dibs when the pizza turns up. Yeah. We'll go and field, and then we'll just have what's left.
So a delayed tea, if you like.
Yeah, which was really lame.
A long session.
It was really bad. It was really bad. And I think they kind of got us back because there was like 6 slices left for like 11 people when we came back in. That was the only time we did a bad one. But usually cricket teas are really good, and that's usually what people come for.
Has in your time in cricket, have you ever been or seen anybody be
What?
abused or
What, sledging?
no, not sledging. I'm saying
Or
I was thinking about
like physically hurt?
when there's
Like an
no,
injury?
no, I'm not saying, but like a fight might have broken.
Oh,
Because when we played five-a-side together, I can remember
right.
things getting heated with other
To be
teams on our
honest,
team.
right, in Sunday cricket, that doesn't really happen.
No.
I spent like a couple of years playing league cricket when I first started playing. Man, people take that really seriously.
Yeah.
Really seriously. And that people start getting aggressive in that. And that can get really mean. Like really horrible. We played a game against a team, and there's a thing in league cricket. If you have to go off for rain, you can't start again unless there is no rain. It has to completely have stopped.
This is what I hate about cricket.
Oh, there's loads of weird rules.
It's just
like
common
that.
sense.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Just doesn't work, does it?
So it has to have completely stopped. I don't know if that rule's changed, but I'm pretty sure it hasn't.
Well, do you remember with international cricket, it was, well, we can't turn the lights on, even though we'll be in grounds and everyone's got the lights.
I know. It's
that kind of ridiculous, yeah?
But, yeah, so
there has to be no water in the air.
We're in the point in the game, let me figure this out, where we had a chance of... Yeah, we were in a really good position to chase a total down. We had to come off for rain, and they knew they would get a losing draw if we stayed off. Whereas if we went back on, we would take
the win.
We'd take a win, right? And all this stupid stuff about points. So the two captains went out, and it ended up with like 5 from each team, people having like a proper heated, nasty argument out in the middle, whether it was drizzling or not.
Was it drizzling?
Like really horrible to each other.
Was it
like
drizzling?
effing and fuck off and all this going at each other? It's so, and I was like, how old was I? I was like 14. Just thinking, what on earth is going on? Like these fully grown men just going berserk at each other.
No one's ever raised a fist to anyone.
No,
Not on your...
Nah, I've never seen a fight. Oh, I've seen it threaten of a fight, but that was in our own club in a practice game.
So it was an interim game.
Yeah, an interim game. And
it's a joke, or someone's got really...
2 people, and one of them hasn't played for ages. Sort of like one of them was fielding on the boundary, having a go at the person who was batting, and basically the person who was batting invited him to come over and they could sort it out because he had a bat in his hand. But it doesn't really happen, I don't think. I've never heard of it happening either. I've seen some bad injuries, but none from actually fighting.
When we played five-a-side, I can remember a few incidents.
People take it so seriously. It's
we would be waiting to get
sport,
on, and people would be sent off for fighting and swearing at each other, and things would get really heated.
Oh, the fines are massive because village cricket, there's no...
They're
all friendlies.
No league system,
there's no thing. So.
And you don't bring in anyone to officiate the game, do you?
Oh, no, you got to get to a reasonable level of league cricket before umpires are brought in.
Talking about umpires and things, what's the deal?
What do you mean?
Well, have you ever...
with
you need the win, or someone needs to make their maiden 100.
I'll tell you what, really,
because does your one if the bat is it the
I
presume
side,
the batting
obviously
side
the batting side
provides an umpire, yeah,
because you have to have it biased towards the batsman, obviously, otherwise you're not going to get a game.
And it wouldn't be cricket otherwise, would it? And it's batsman leg game.
It's really hard to know what to do when you umpire as well, because you really want to make it fair, but you also have to give someone you like out, and you know they're never going to agree with it.
You've seen some shockers, have you?
I've seen more shockers being not given than shocking decisions being given. Yeah.
To save the...
every game. It's really hard. And I'll tell you something else. Something that annoys me when you umpire. The harsher, the more aggressive the appeal, dissuades me more.
So
not because it's more out, but because it feels like they think they can pressure you into giving a decision. So that's probably quite bad.
This is where I'm surprised that the fights don't break out.
it's not.
It's a different sport, isn't it?
Yeah,
compared
exactly. It's not in the mentality of cricket, is it? But
though there has definitely been some heated
people,
words with
some people
international
get
cricket,
really
hasn't
upset when they go off the pitch. I've seen someone, a cricket helmet, you're meant to replace it
there?
when
If
it
take a
gets
knock,
hit. This bloke got out first ball, opening, got out first ball, walking back and to get to our pavilion. It's like nice concrete steps up to the pavilion. This guy takes his helmet off and just full on launches it at these steps, and it hits the top of the helmet, just smashes the edge of a step. It's like, that's 50 quid.
Have you heard of Matt Pryor?
Well, throwing his bat onto his coffin.
So, and
it just skimmed
it's in
off
Lords,
it,
isn't it?
Yeah.
And then it skims off the coffin.
Hit the window.
Hits the window and shatters the members
Onto
with
the
glass.
members. Yeah, that's. Oh yeah, that's pretty.
I think
pretty bad.
I think we'll probably end it here.
Yeah, I hope that's interesting. Do you think that's interesting?
Well, if it is, we'll give you. Well, you've probably got some more stories, haven't you?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. If anyone's interested.
So we may come back with the part 2. Of
Yeah,
this
I'm
episode.
sure they'll come up at some point.
Maybe in the next coming weeks. Again, thank you for the support so far. You can find us on Twitter at the Long Hop Pod. No, at just Long Hop Podcast.
Yeah, Long Hop Podcast.
Email if you really need to contact us urgently at longhop@gmail.com. Please subscribe, like we opened with. It really means the world to us. Subscriptions, doesn't it?
Yeah, love subscriptions. And like the video. If you listen to it and you enjoy it, give it a like.
And just please tell a friend and whatnot. And
yeah, we want to grow.
if you've got any funny stories that want to send in, and if we do another one, which we might do,
Yeah,
we'll
see.
Might want to incorporate a few of your stories. Stay with us for next week. We'll be talking about the first test between England versus India.
Yeah,
So,
looking forward to that.
and then for when there is next not a game during the week, you'll be hearing another Rainy Day podcast. Anything else, though?
No. Thanks for listening.
That's
And
great.
subscribe.
Thank you.